Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Shanakshi Chakravarti. The big story we have been tracking through the day. The political war between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP has entered into the state of Gujarat. After the much controversial CBI raids, Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia on Monday claimed that he has an audio recording of a BJP leader calling him with an offer to drop a CBI case against him if he left the Aam Aadmi Party and helped the party bring down. I quote, he said, "We don't need to release the conversation at this point, but if needed, the Aam Aadmi Party will release the phone conversation." That's what an AAP leader said, requesting not to be named. Now, the BJP, though, has strongly refuted the claim. This is a part of AAP's shoot and scoot policy. If they have proof, they should release it. That's what the BJP leader, Pramod Swami, said. Take a look at this report.
Aam Aadmi Party's Big Two in Gujarat, a show of strength in the shadow of the corruption charges against Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. Talking to the press, Mr. Sisodia repeated the bombshell allegation he had tweeted earlier on a supposed offer from the BJP.
मेरे पास मैसेज आया कि दो मैसेज थे, दो पार्ट थे उस मैसेज के कि एक तो आपके खिलाफ जितने ईडी के सीबीआई के केस चल रहे हैं इनको सबको खत्म कर दिया जाएगा, और दूसरा है कि आप बीजेपी ज्वाइन करके पार्टी तोड़ के बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर लीजिए और हम आपको सीएम बना देंगे, क्योंकि हमारे पास में कोई सीएम कैंडिडेट नहीं है वहां पे दिल्ली में भारतीय जनता पार्टी में। मैं एक ईमानदार आदमी हूं, इनफैक्ट मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की टीम में हूं ही इसलिए कि मैं एक कट्टर ईमानदार आदमी हूं।
When asked about who reached out to him, the minister ducked specifics, simply saying that it was the same people responsible for other party swaps to the BJP.
जो लोग जिन्होंने मुझे मैसेज दिया उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि वेस्ट बंगाल में शुभेंदु अधिकारी जी को हमने ही ज्वाइन कराया था। उन्होंने कहा कि हम पे आप भरोसा रखिए।
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, who's on his 10th visit to Gujarat since May, today defended the liquor policy which led to the CBI's raid on his deputy.
850 दुकानें खुलनी थी दिल्ली के अंदर, एक एक करके 350 दुकानें खुल पाई, 500 दुकानें नहीं खुल पाई। वो पॉलिसी बहुत अच्छी है, हम किसी के साथ भी डिबेट करने के लिए तैयार हैं। इसको गिरफ्तार कर लिया, एक और कल केस एक और रजिस्टर कर दिया, अभी तो बहुत गिरफ्तारियां होंगी। ये सब गुजरात के चुनाव की वजह से दिसंबर में खत्म हो जाएगा।
The BJP, which protested near Arvind Kejriwal's house in Delhi, called Sisodia's claim a move to escape the corruption allegations on Delhi's excise policy.
महाराणा प्रताप से अपनी तुलना कर रहे हैं, जिसके ऊपर 10,000 करोड़ के घोटाले का आरोप है, शराब घोटाले का आरोप है। आम आदमी पार्टी के लोग भ्रष्टाचारी हो सकते हैं, कहां ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी जैसी पवित्र आत्मा की पार्टी का सोच भी इन्होंने जो रखा है। मुझे लगता है पूरा देश, पूरी दिल्ली हंस रही है और इनको अपने किए की सजा जरूर मिलेगी।
But Aam Aadmi Party's Big Two have taken the battle to the home state of the BJP's Big Two. Kejriwal spelled out what he had to offer Gujarat's voters later this year in the assembly polls. Free education, free healthcare, free power in the face of the Prime Minister's attack on freebies. If the Aam Aadmi Party gains a significant seat share in Gujarat, it will be crucial for the party not just for relevance within the state, but also for its national goals. Being recognized as a state party in Gujarat will take the Aam Aadmi Party a step towards becoming a national party. It will also send out a strong statement towards the Aam Aadmi Party's Modi versus Kejriwal vision for 2024. The Gujarat polls to be held later this year will make it clear whether the Aam Aadmi Party has made an impact beyond just Delhi and Punjab. In Gujarat, with Sharat Sharma and camera person Ashwini Mehra, Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.
Shifting focus, in fact, on that story into what the sources have indicated to NDTV, that the Aam Aadmi Party has the audio clip. They have said, and I quote, "We don't need to release the conversation at this point, but if needed, the Aam Aadmi Party will release the phone conversation." On to some international headline. Russia's Federal Security Service says it has arrested an alleged Islamic State suicide bomber who was planning to fly to India to target a key Indian politician from the ruling party over alleged insults to Prophet Muhammad. The man is said to be the national of a Central Asian country who was recruited in Turkey.
Name of this IS, this operative was Azamov Mashahont. That's you can see him over there on the screen. Born in 1992. This is after he was taken into custody in Russia. A couple of points. He had become an operative just this year, and it was during a visit to Turkey that he was apparently indoctrinated. He was apparently going to be coming to India, flying across, where he was prepared to attack a major part of a figure in this government. But the motive of the attack is still unclear, though some suggest that in his confession to the Russians, he said that the insulting remarks made on the Prophet Muhammad were the main reasons why he was going to attack. Remember, flights actually exist between Moscow and Delhi, so it's actually much easier to travel from Moscow to India, and therefore that was a route which he had taken. He was flying via Moscow, so that's what the little information that we have at this stage. Apparently an Uzbek national is what we are told.
Protesting farmers returned to the national capital on Monday as hundreds of them from various states demanded MSP guarantees, amongst other things. Additional forces were deployed at border entry points, including the Singhu border, the Tikri border and Ghazipur border. Some farmers were detained and taken away in buses at the Ghazipur border. Rahul Gandhi met civil society leaders requesting them for their support for the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which starts from the 7th of September. The Congress party has appealed to all non-BJP parties and the civil society to support this yatra. Rahul Gandhi meeting civil society leaders like Yogendra Yadav, Aruna Roy, among others, seeking their support for his Bharat Jodo Yatra that begins from the 7th of September. The Congress has appealed to all non-BJP parties as well to support this over 12 states and 150 days long yatra. In his first outreach on Monday, the party says over 150 civil society organizations participated, though no one asked him on who would lead the party.
Since this yatra is a Bharat Jodo Yatra, talks about secularism, talks about the multiplicity of India and bringing us all together on one platform, we will engage with the yatra because there are some common principles on which we agree.
There is a consensus that we welcome this Bharat Jodo Yatra because this is need of the hour, that we have agreed to engage with.
एक राजनीतिक यात्रा है, एक राजनीतिक पार्टी होने के नाते भारत जोड़ो यात्रा की शुरुआत हुई है, पर ये नॉन पार्टिजान है। हम अलग अलग समाज के अलग अलग वर्गों को हमने गुजारिश की है कि अगर वो संविधान में विश्वास रखते हैं तो वो भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में शामिल हों।
There is still no news on Congress's presidential elections and there hasn't been any word from any political party whether they will support this Bharat Jodo Yatra. In Delhi, with Sunil Prabhu, Shanakshi Chakravarti for NDTV. And news from Kashmir, NC President Farooq Abdullah chaired an all-party meeting of opposition parties on Monday to discuss the controversy over the right to vote for non-locals in Jammu and Kashmir and later said that they may go to court over the move. He expressed concerns that terrorists may target more non-locals over this. The meeting was attended by the NC, by the PDP, Congress, the CPM, Shiv Sena and JDU amongst others.
ये जितनी पार्टी जहाँ बैठी हैं, जो उन्होंने ये कानून लाया है कि बाहर वालों को वोट देंगे, हम सब पार्टियां एकजुट इसके खिलाफ हैं और इसको कबूल करने के लिए तैयार नहीं हैं। ये जो इन्होंने कानून लाया है, ये भी एक मुसीबत का गढ़ बनेगी क्योंकि हर एक को तो पहले पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को हमारे पास प्रोटेक्शन नहीं है, इनके पास, तो हर मजदूर को कैसे ये प्रोटेक्शन देंगे, हमें वो भी खतरा है।
And good news for Durga Puja organizers as the Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has announced a hike in the discount on electricity rates and financial support for Puja organizers as the state government wants to make the Durga Puja an international cultural event. But for some, the announcement is an extension of what is being described as freebies and has generated a massive debate.
Pujo korte gele khorcha to ache. আমি ইলেকট্রিক সাপ্লাই এবং স্টেট ইলেকট্রিসিটি বোর্ডকে 50% থেকে কনসেশনটা 60% বাড়িয়ে দেওয়ার জন্য অনুরোধ করছি। আমার কাছে কিন্তু নেই ভাড়ার শূন্য, মা দুর্গা ভাড়ার ভর্তি করে দেবে আমি আশা করি। তাই এবারে আমরা আমাদের কষ্ট থাকা সত্ত্বেও 50,000 টাকাটা 60,000 টাকা করে দিলাম।
The markets are on a downhill drive with both the Nifty and the Sensex declining 1.5% in trade on Monday. This is the worst fall for the markets in 2 months. My colleague Sakshi with all the details.
Markets witnessed the worst fall in 2 months. Selling was across the board with all sectors ending in the red. The Nifty gave up on the 17,500 mark and the Sensex tanked below 59,000. Investors remain concerned about the possibility of continued aggressive rate hikes from the US Fed and also keep an eye on the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium ahead of us. Remember, US inflation is at a fresh 4-decade high and commentary on inflation will be watched closely. The rupee also weakened and after the dollar jumped to a fresh 5-week high, of course, the pressure was witnessed on our currency. Experts believe the market sentiment could remain volatile in the days ahead as the focus has once again shifted on the global economy and global concerns.
And heavy rains continued in many parts of Madhya Pradesh for the third straight day, resulting in schools being closed in some districts including state capital Bhopal and Jabalpur. The weather office had advised people to avoid travelling amid torrential rains. And in Rajasthan's Bandi area, heavy rain leads to a flood-like situation in Kota, in Bandi and some other districts in the state. Schools have been declared shut. Low-lying areas have submerged under water owing to the heavy downpour. To some international news, the Islamabad High Court has granted pre-arrest bail to Pakistan former Prime Minister Imran Khan till the 25th of August after he was booked under the Anti-Terrorism Act for threatening an additional sessions judge and senior police officers of the Islamabad police at a rally in the federal capital. Take a look.
Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan has been granted protective bail till Thursday by the Islamabad High Court in a terrorism case registered against him for threatening police, judiciary and other state institutions during a rally over the weekend. The petition filed by his lawyers stated that Khan was a target of the ruling PDM for his fearless criticism and extremely bold and blunt stance against corruption and corrupt politicians, The Dawn reported. Imran Khan has been staging popular anti-government protests, escalating political tensions in the country as he seeks to return to office after his government fell in April.
No military, no agencies, no police, no paramilitary forces. No one can stand against the people of a country.
Meanwhile, PTI leaders fired off warnings in the early hours of Monday, saying arresting their leader would be crossing a red line, which also began to trend on Twitter.
People of Pakistan have decided that they need a revolution in this country, and it will come.
Some geopolitical experts believe every effort Pakistan's government makes to weaken Imran Khan will only end up making him stronger. Experts feel its repressive policies play to his strengths as a populist and enable him to channel public outrage to his advantage. Imran Khan's huge support base is evidence for this. Parmeshwar Bava for NDTV.
Meanwhile, the news of India at the UNSC, we are getting news that at the moment India has in fact slammed and has set double standards of India's swipe at China over common security. India on Monday took a thinly veiled dig at China at the UN Security Council during a discussion on promoting common security through dialogue and cooperation. It said, and I quote, "Any coercive or unilateral action that seeks to change the status quo by force is an affront to common security," said Ruchira Kamboj, India's envoy to the United Nations.
Any coercive or unilateral action that seeks to change the status quo by force is an affront to common security. Further, common security is only possible when countries respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, as they would expect their own sovereignty to be respected.
And also, China is experiencing its longest and toughest heat wave of the last 6 decades amidst the global climate crisis, making the country issue a nationwide drought warning after almost 9 years. The extreme weather conditions pose significant economic and political challenges for the Chinese government. Take a look.
China's mighty Yangtze flowing at its lowest levels in decades. The country is facing a devastating heat wave. Experts say it's the longest and most severe ever recorded globally. The World Met Organization says the intensity, impact, scale and duration of the heat wave in China this summer has broken all records. It has lasted 64 days with record incidents of temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius. Factories in some areas have also had to extend a temporary lockdown of industries altogether. The lack of rainfall and sharply reduced hydropower has led to the temporary shutting down of factories in the Sichuan province, with nearly 84 million people. For the first time in 9 years, China has issued a nationwide drought alert. In a desperate step, Chinese authorities have now started cloud seeding to induce rainfall, as the country reported a 60% dip in rainfall. China's emergency ministry attributes the direct economic losses of $400 million. It might end up being a lot more. The climate change-linked heat wave comes on the back of other concerns for China. Its zero-COVID policy, real estate debt crisis and slowing growth. Given its stakes in the global economy, the world is watching closely. With Kainat Dara, Sakshi Bajaj for NDTV.
And with that, it's a wrap from all of us on this bulletin, but stay tuned to NDTV for all the latest.